Okay, let's start.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone. This is our third session on principles of deformity correction. Today's session is regarding planning of femur frontal plane uniapical deformities, and this is our third session. This is now the level of concepts has gone up. Tibia was a bit straightforward, but now in the femur, you have to pay attention. I will try to be very slow, and I will keep on repeating the concept so that nothing gets lost. But this is very important session. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. And Dr. Abdul Sattar will convey these messages to me. And I'm hoping that we'll have an interactive session. You'll don't feel shy regarding asking any of the questions. So can you see the screen now, the PowerPoint presentation right now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a brief revision of the previous two lectures, and then we're gonna proceed. Okay. As I told you earlier, I'm not going to go into the details. I have repeated these many times, so I'm just gonna tell them, and then we're gonna proceed. The two ways to draw a line, the rule of opposite angles, the importance of joint line orientation, components of deformity correction, limb alignment, and joint orientation, how to draw joint orientation lines, the limb alignment, three components of limb alignment. Number one, mechanical axis of the limb, mechanical axis of the individual bone, and number three is anatomical axis of the individual bone. How to draw centers, mark centers of the joints, mechanical axis of the limb, what is mechanical axis deviation, 8 mm on either side is normal. How to draw an mechanical axis of the individual bones, the femur, how to draw anatomical axis of the femur, what is AMA, anatomical mechanical angle, up to 9 to 5 degrees is normal. And there is a lot of background noise. Please, everyone, mute your mics. The mechanical axis of tibia and the anatomical axis of tibia, as we discussed, there is so much background noise. Satar, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Is it your mic? Is your mic creating background noise?
No.
There is so much background noise right now. Okay, the next is, as I told you earlier, the anatomical axis of tibia and the mechanical axis of tibia are both parallel, but anatomical axis of tibia is slightly medial, not in the same line, slightly medial. This has an importance in femur as well. I will tell you later on. The nomenclature, as I told you earlier, when discussing the mechanical axis, we take everything is lateral in femur. We take lateral proximal femoral angle. The mean is, the population mean is 90 degrees, range is from 85 to 95 degrees. The mechanical lateral distal femoral angle is 88 degrees. The mean is 85 to 90 degrees. Then while discussing the anatomical angle, one is medial, one is lateral. Lateral distal femoral angle, it is 81 degrees. Why is there a difference of 7 degrees? I told you earlier, you must be knowing it by now, because there is an anatomical mechanical angle of 7 degrees. The anatomical axis is here while the mechanical axis is here. So this difference gives you a difference of 7 degrees in the lateral distal femoral angle. And the proximal angle you measure, the medial one, not the lateral one as you did in mechanical axis planning. And it is 84 degrees with the mean of 80 to 90 degrees. I think I should repeat: mechanical axis, lateral proximal femoral angle, lateral distal femoral angle. Lateral proximal femoral angle is 90 degrees, lateral distal femoral angle is 88 degrees. Well, here in the anatomical section, we take the medial proximal femoral angle, because I told you as a rule, the angle which is less, the acute angle, we take as a reference. Since this line has been cut into two parts by this line, we have one angle, the medial one, and the other one, the lateral one. We take the angle which is less than 90 degrees, the acute angle, not the obtuse angle. So the medial proximal femoral angle is 84 degrees, and the range is from 80 to 90 degrees. There is another reference angle, the neck shaft angle, which we will discuss later on as well. So now let us jump to the section.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is picture 425. I already sent you all the pictures. I hope you have printed these. So you're gonna need to rehearse, because without rehearsal, you won't be able to perform the planning on the real X-rays. This is very important. And now I'm gonna tell you a few basic concepts of geometry here, which are we going to use. So we need to listen to all these very carefully. Number one is, as I discussed, there is a rule of opposite angles, which states that whenever you cut a straight line, let's draw a straight line so that right now there is no confusion. Whenever you cut a straight line, you divide it into 4 angles, and the opposite angles are equal. So I'm going to extend this rule a bit. When there are 2 parallel lines, please pay attention to it. This is very important. Whenever there are parallel lines and I cut these 2 lines by another straight line, then the similar angles will be equal. What I mean to say is, the upper right angle here will also be the same down here as well, because these 2 lines are parallel. Same, the lower right angle would also be equal to the lower right angle of the lower line. Same will happen with the other 2 lines. This is very important. You need to memorize it. Okay, I'll repeat it. The rule of it is an extension of rule of opposite angles, that if we draw 2 parallel lines, as you can see, these are 2 parallel lines, and then we cut these lines by a straight line, then the angles, the similar angles, will be of same magnitude. Okay, so now let's jump to the deformity planning part of this diagram. Here, when we do the planning, it will help you understand better way. So this is a scanogram, a schematic, a diagram of a scanogram. As we all discussed, what are we going to do first? First, we're going to draw the center of the joints. Then we are going to mark mechanical axis of the limb. This mechanical axis of the limb is going to answer the first component of our planning. Is there a deformity? And as you can see in this X-ray, there is a deformity. The mechanical axis of the limb is passing medial to the knee joint, and this is, so we can say that there is a varus deformity. The next component is drawing the joint orientation lines. Okay. Now we have drawn the joint orientation lines. The next step is we're going to draw mechanical axis of the individual bones. Mechanical axis of the individual bone, starting from center of the head to the apex of the intercondylar notch. This has given us, now as we can see here, the lateral distal femoral angle here is 105 degrees. The rule of opposite angles. This angle is equal to the opposite angle. So the lateral distal femoral angle is 105 degrees. What does it tell you? The normal angle is 88 degrees. So it is increased, which tells us that there is a varus deformity in the distal part of the femur. Let us also check the upper angle. Here the angle is 92 degrees. As we all discussed, the mechanical lateral proximal femoral angle is, the population mean is 90 degrees, and the range is 85 to 95 degrees. We are going to measure mechanical axis of the tibia as well. Center line here. The center. Now, as you can see, the mechanical axis of the tibia is 87 degrees. Now we have established that the deformity is in femur, and since only the lateral distal femoral angle is abnormal, we can safely say it is in the distal portion of the femur. But we will never know for sure until we have calculated our cora. We have answered the third question of the malalignment test, that in which location there is deformity. Now, since it is a scanogram of both limbs, we have to measure angles of both the limbs, so that if the opposite side is normal, this will be our reference. Okay. Mechanical axis of the limb is, as you can see, it is passing through the center, and as you can see here, okay, now the mechanical axis, the lateral distal femoral angle here is 88 degrees. Whatever is on the normal side, we have to replicate that. This is our aim. 88 degrees is usually the population mean as well. But if it were 86 degrees, then our aim on the other side would have been to achieve 86 degrees. Okay. The lateral proximal femoral angle here is 86 degrees. So the reference value for us here is 86 degrees and not, it is it's not in the perfect center. It's 90, sorry. the line was not in the perfectly center. So our aim on the right side is to achieve 88 degrees of lateral distal femoral angle, because it is on the normal side, it is 88 degrees. So what are we going to do here? As we all know by now that when we try to measure the deformity in the tibia, what we did was, while doing the mechanical axis planning, we drew a reference, a normal, a mean medial proximal tibial angle and a lateral distal tibial angle. In the place where these two lines joined gave us the chora. So the same is going to be over here, but here things are a bit different, because as you can appreciate now, in the tibia, the mechanical axis passes from the center of the bone. It is inside the bone. But in the femur, the mechanical axis of the femur lies outside the bone. It is not in the center of the bone. What is going to happen? The mechanical axis and anatomical axis are not going to come on the chora from the mechanical axis planning, and the anatomical axis planning are not going to come on the same place. The mechanical axis will be slightly medial to the anatomical axis planning, but this will not have any impact on our planning. As we go through, we will understand it a little better. So here, let's first do mechanical axis planning, and then we're going to do an anatomical axis planning. Because the mechanical axis of the tibia is normal, it's 87 degrees, we can simply extend this line and use it as a reference for mechanical axis of our distal femur. Why did I do that? Let's first erase that as well. Because tibia is normal, so our aim is, what is the aim of our correction? That let me extend this line a bit further. The aim of all this exercise is to bring the center of the head to here, so that mechanical axis of the limb is restored. Since the mechanical axis of the tibia is normal, this angle would also be normal. It's 87 degrees, 87 or 88 degrees. It's in the normal range. The other way is, you can simply draw a reference line. You don't need to extend the line. This is only for when you have got your normal tibia. If there is a deformity in the one bone and the other bone is normal, you can simply extend the mechanical axis. Other way is, if you don't want to confuse yourself, just draw, taking from the center, just draw a reference line. This will also work fine. Okay. So you can do either. It does not make really make any difference. There are many ways to draw the reference line. Okay. So now we have drawn the mechanical axis. I'm going to keep on continue with this line, since because I want to show you, when we're going to correct the deformity, how the femoral head goes into its place. Now the other point is, now comes the tricky portion. How are we going? We have, as you can see now, we have taken the reference angle of the distal femur. Now we are going to take the reference angle of the proximal femur. Okay, so the reference line, as we all saw here, it was a normal 90 degrees. By simply drawing, this part is the same. By simply drawing the reference angle of the proximal femur and the reference angle of the distal femur, where these 2 points will join, will give you the chora. Okay. I have drawn a 90-degree reference line here, an 88-degree reference line, which is also, since the tibia is normal, it is passing through the center of the tibia. And this has given me the location of the deformity. I hope this was clear to you all, because this is the simplest way, the simplest scenario to which we can correct the deformity. We can calculate the deformity just by extending the mechanical axis of the proximal femur and in the distal femur as well. Now, what is the problem which occurs, which stops us from calculating a deformity like this? Because in many cases, when we are doing a planning, the femur, upper part of the femur is not normal. In most of the cases, when there is genu valgum or genu varum, the neck shaft angle is not normal. In these cases, our proximal angle is also not normal. And in these scenarios, we cannot use the proximal angle as our reference. Let me show you in a case, an example, a simple example, which will help you explain what I am saying. It will come in the second scenarios. Like in cases like this, usually you encounter cases like this when there is a problem in the neck shaft angles as well. So you cannot always use the reference proximal mechanical axis reference line. So there must be other ways to counter check the correct planning, okay? So that you can always know whether the proximal angle is normal or not. And if it is abnormal, there must be another way to assess the deformity planning. What it is, let me tell you now. As we all knew, the lateral distal femoral angle here is 88 degrees because the opposite side is also 88 degrees. I'm going to draw mechanical axis of the anatomical axis of the femur. This is a mid diaphyseal line. Okay. What I told you, what was the value of the anatomical mechanical axis? AMA, anatomical mechanical angle, normally is 7 degrees plus minus 2 degrees, meaning 5 to 9 degrees is normal. In a normal femur, the mechanical axis is making an angle of 7 degrees plus minus 2 degrees. So in this case, in the normal limb, it is, as you can all see, it is 7 degrees. So our aim, the other aim is, when we will restore in our abnormal femur, when we will restore an anatomical mechanical angle of 7 degrees, we will get a normal alignment. I'm sure you will have some problems understanding this, but it will clear in a minute. Okay. So what I have done is, I'm drawing a parallel line parallel to the anatomical axis. Okay. I've taken this line to the center of the femoral head. Okay. In this normal limb, I told you that we calculated that the anatomical mechanical angle is 7 degrees. So what is going to happen? If I extend the line over here, the rule of opposite angles, and when it is extended to the two parallel lines, I told you that the angle here must also be 7 degrees. Let me explain it. once again, I am going to draw another parallel line on the normal side. Okay, these are two parallel lines. I'm gonna extend the line to the center of the head. A line, I'm gonna draw up a line parallel to this line with reference. One reference is from the center of the head, extending from the center of the head. So this line is, as you can all see, let me zoom it up. This line, if the angle here is 7 degrees, the angle here must also be 7 degrees. Okay, so using this, this is called the rule of the method of three lines. This is called the method of three lines. And by using this method, I can also calculate the mechanical axis of proximal femur. Okay, this is a very useful way of drawing the mechanical axis of the proximal femur, because in most of the cases of deformity, the normal neck shaft angle is disturbed. In many cases, there is overriding of the greater trochanter, and the joint orientation of the femoral head is disturbed in most of these cases of deformity. So it is not always possible to take the proximal femoral angle just by taking the joint orientation line and then drawing a normal angle. So keeping this in mind, now I have taken the anatomical axis. I drew a line parallel to the anatomical axis, centered over the center of the femoral head. And from here, I'm going to draw a line at 7 degrees. As we all know that mechanical axis line is 7 degrees to the anatomical axis line. So this is going to give me the mechanical axis of the femur. As we all know, in this case, the proximal angles were normal. So here you can see I have drawn the mechanical axis to the other technique, and then I have drawn the reference joint orientation line. As you can see, the angles are again normal. So we can safely say that this is a mechanical axis, true representation of the mechanical axis of the proximal femur. The distal part is, again, it's very easy, straightforward. We're gonna draw a line we can either extend draw a line from the tibia, since tibia is normal, or we can simply draw a normal value, and this is going to give us the mechanical axis of this is going to give us our location of the deformity, the cora. Okay, are there any questions so far? If there was any problem, you can ask right now and I will gladly repeat it. Satar, are you here?
No question up till now.
So I'm hoping that the concept was clear and I can proceed, since it is a very difficult part and it is hard to understand.
Dr. Arslan want to ask to repeat the three lines method.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I'll gladly repeat the three-line method. No problem. Can you still see the screen right now?
Yes, yes.
Screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Let me start once over. This is very important. I've got no problems repeating it for 5 times, even if it needs to be done. because this part is important. Afterwards, everything is simple. The rule of 3 lines. I'm gonna erase everything. Then start over. Okay. Now we have this scanogram with us. As I told you, when we draw the mechanical axis and the anatomical axis, I forgot to tell you one thing. Let us discuss this over here. As we all know that mechanical axis of the femur is drawn from the center of the knee joint to the center of the femoral head, and center of the knee joint is where the apex of this notch is. But this is not the case with the anatomical axis. The mid-diaphyseal line does not cross the center of the knee joint. It is slightly medial. How medial it is? This line should cross the femoral portion to a point which is in line with the medial tibial, what do you call it? Tubercle, okay? The medial tubercle, the medial eminence, okay? Of the tibial spine, the medial eminence of the tibial spine, okay? So on the normal side, you will draw the anatomical distal anatomical distal lateral femoral angle starting from the point which is in line with the medial tubercle, medial spike of the tibial spine. This is very important. If you want, you can ideally you should measure. You can measure the distance from the center okay. It's very windy right now. The doors are opening. You should measure the distance from the center, and what the distance is, you should also mark it on the abnormal side and then draw a line from here, okay? But you don't need to really do that. Just see where the medial spike is on the normal side and draw a line over there, okay? Now, I'm gonna repeat. The normal is, this is the anatomical axis. It is from mid-diaphyseal line, which usually passes from the pyriform fossa to the just medial to the apex of the notch. The anatomical axis starts from the center of the femoral head to the medial to the apex of the femoral notch. And these two do not join at the apex. They join at a level above because the anatomical axis line is slightly medial. And the angle they make is 7 degrees. In this case, it is called anatomical mechanical angle. So the other way of saying is that the mechanical axis of the femur passes the anatomical axis of the femur at an angle of 7 degrees. In a normal page, in a normal limb, the mechanical axis line crosses the anatomical axis line at an angle of 7 degrees. This is very important. This is another way of saying this, of describing the anatomical mechanical angle. So we have got a reference angle. We're going to replicate the same on the abnormal femur to get the mechanical axis of the proximal femur. As I said before, in most of the cases of deformity, usually because of long-standing deformity, there are changes in the on the hip joint as well, which result in an abnormal joint orientation of the femoral head. Normally the neck shaft angle is disturbed, or there is an overriding of trochanter which does not allow you to measure the reference angle of the proximal femur, reference mechanical axis proximal angle of the femur in a normal way. So we have to devise an alternate way of checking, counter checking our mechanical axis. Okay, so we have drawn the normal anatomical axis line, mid diaphyseal line on the abnormal femur. Then we drew a line which is parallel to the anatomical axis, and we extended it to the center of the femur. How are you going to draw this line on paper, on X-ray? You simply draw a line, mid diaphyseal line, then from there you place your scale and mark a point in the center of the femur, and you measure the distance, and then downwards, at some period downward, at the same distance you mark another point, and then you join these two lines and then extend them downwards. This is how you get a parallel angle. Okay, and now, as I told you, the rule of opposite angles, I've drawn an angle of 7 degrees here. Okay, as I told you, let me just extend the zoom back. As I told you, the angle which is here must be the angle over here as well, an extension of the rule of opposite angles, parallel angles. Okay, angle here must be here. So I have, using my anatomical axis line as a reference, I have taken mechanical axis. Okay, and I have drawn a line at 7 degrees to the anatomical axis, which has extended, which has to the center of the femoral head, and just by doing this I have gotten the mechanical axis of the femur, of the proximal part of the femur. Okay, now the other part is very simple. I simply draw the joint orientation line, the distal femur. I am going to draw a line at 88 degrees on the distal femur, and this is going to give me my cora. Okay, 22 degrees. As I told you, since in this case, since there is no deformity in the upper femur, so I can counter check this as well. As you can see here, the angles are, sorry, the upper angles are also normal. Okay, so now let's us just proceed to the anatomical planning. Now we have drawn mid diaphyseal line, and we all knew that the medial proximal femoral angle is, what's the normal range is, the mean is 84 degrees. The range of 80 to 90 degrees is normal, and here it is 82 degrees. Again, we have to counter check from the other side, and whatever value is we get from here will be our reference line. This mid diaphyseal line is, now we're going to draw our reference line from the distal side. We all know that the lateral distal femoral angle is 81 degrees. And why is it 81 degrees? The lateral angle, distal femoral angle of the femur, mechanical lateral distal femoral angle is 88 degrees, and anatomical angle is 81 degrees. Why? Because there is a difference of 7 degrees in between the femur, between the mechanical axis and the anatomical axis of the femur. Okay, so we're gonna simply take this line as a reference. And as I told you that the line is not from the center of the notch, it is in line with the medial eminence of the tibial spine, and the line extends from here and makes an angle of 81 degrees, and this gives us a cora with the magnitude of 22 degrees. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let us do rehearsal on another X-ray. No, let's first do rehearsal on this X-ray. Okay, this will tell us about the deformity in the mid shaft, how to calculate it. And now in this case, as you can visibly see, the other side is abnormal as well. So we cannot take our reference values from the normal side. So what are we going to do is we are going to take the population mean values, and we will be achieving those mean values. Again, same rehearsal. First I'm gonna quickly move now. Mechanical axis of the limb, it is very slightly disturbed, just medial to the medial eminence. I told you earlier, the closer the deformity is to the knee joint, the more deviation it will create from the center of the knee joint. Since the deformity is higher above, so in this scenario, it has not deviated the knee. So the next section is we're going to draw the joint orientation lines. Okay. First, we're simply going to draw the joint orientation lines. Okay. Now I'm going to draw mechanical axis of the individual bones. And in this scenario, as you can see now, the mechanical axis, the lateral proximal femoral angle is 101 degrees and the lateral distal femoral angle is 95 degrees. Okay. So how are we going to calculate the deformity here? First, we're going to do a mechanical axis planning, and then we're going to do a anatomical axis planning. Mechanical axis planning is simply what are you going to do is draw a reference line at 90 degrees. Here, we all know that lateral proximal femoral angle is 90 degrees. The lateral distal femoral angle is 88 degrees, extending from the center. This has given us the location of the deformity. Okay. Let me just fine tune my calculations. As you can see, the slight deviation from the normal gives you an altered angle the indication. Okay, now as you can see, now I've drawn a reference angle, line, proximal femoral mechanical axis line at 90 degrees, and then I drew a lateral distal femoral angle at 88 degrees, where these two lines joined gave me the location of the deformity. As you can see here is this fora is not centered in the bone, because I told you the mechanical axis of the femur does not lie inside the bone, it is medial to the bone. But it will not affect our planning. As we move to the part of the deformity planning of the using an anatomical axis, we will know that. So the rule of three angles, we always have to calculate using the rule of three angles as well, because I told you the reason earlier. Now let me move this line forward here. I'm going to draw a mid diaphyseal line using the proximal shaft. I've simply drawn this line by marking 2 points over here, 2 points over here, and then extending the line. Okay, this is the same way. And then I drew a parallel line, a line parallel to this line. Okay, this is parallel. Okay, and then I drew a 7-degree reference line. Okay, this gave me again the deformity, the fora, and the magnitude is the same, the location of the same. Okay, this is a second way. Now let me quickly move to the anatomical planning part. As we all know, it is very simple. The one way is since we have diaphysis on the both sides, we can simply draw mid diaphyseal lines. You can simply draw two mid diaphyseal lines, but we have to check these lines. This line is not normal. The normal mechanical axis is 81 degrees, and the upper angle is, the mean is 84 degrees. So we have drawn a line, a mid diaphyseal line, which is also 84 degrees to the joint orientation of the head. The medial proximal femoral angle is 84 degrees, and the lateral distal femoral angle is, I told you in the beginning that the mid diaphyseal line has to be drawn from the mid of the diaphysis. This is very important, because in this portion, as you can see, the femur has started to dilate. It is very important. It is very easy to miscalculate, because this is a metaphyseal diaphyseal junction. You cannot take reference points from this side, because what I did was, initially I tried to draw center lines here, and I ended up having a wrong distal lateral femoral angle. So this, you always need to draw your lines which are at a normal angle, okay, to your distal, to your knee joint, okay, so that the lateral distal femoral angle is 81 degrees. So now the deformity is 15 degrees centered here, and on this side it is, let me tell you, here it is also 15 degrees. And when we draw And the location of the deformity is, as you can see here, it is right at the apex of the deformity, and here as well it is at the apex of the deformity. In our next session, when we will do our rules of osteotomy and we will do the correction part, you will come to know that the location of the deformity, whether it's medial or location of your cora, whether it is medial or lateral, does not make any difference. Okay. So are there any questions so far? So this was the part where there was no pathology in the proximal femur. Are there any questions till now? You can ask, and then I will move to the next portion. A bit complicated portion.
Alhamdulillah, all clear now.
Sir, are there any
Now,
questions?
no, sir.
I hope that everything is clear. This is conceptual part of the planning. So if no one is asking questions, I will be assuming that you're not understanding, because I can't really believe that even after all this, no one has got any questions. So feel free to ask questions. So let's move to the other scenario. Now it's 428. Okay, now I've moved to, I think we have done with the 420. Eight. We are done with this. Now we're going to move to 430. Okay. Now, many of you usually encounter this kind of an X-ray. Usually, this kind of X-ray you get when there is a non-united neck of femur fracture with you. This is mostly seen, and in the cases of congenital Coxa-Vara, this is a typical case. So let's do the planning in this scenario. We're going to draw joint orientation line, mechanical axis of the limb. As you can all see, it is passing lateral. So this patient has got a valgus deformity. Next is we're going to draw joint orientation lines. Then what are we going to do is we're going to draw mechanical axis of the femur. See, look at the angles. Now, what angles have you gotten now? The lateral distal femoral angle is 87 degrees. It is within normal limit, but the lateral proximal femoral angle is 120 degrees. Another reference line which we discussed was the neck shaft angle. So just keep this in mind. It will come on later. Now, the mechanical lateral proximal femoral angle here is 120 degrees. What is the normal value? 90 degrees. Okay. So what we're going to do here, is, since the angle below is normal and the angle above is abnormal, so we can say is that the deformity is in the proximal part of the femur. We are going to draw the two reference lines, okay, as we did before. The one is lateral distal angle and the other is proximal angle. The distal is always normal, so it is our reference. So we will draw a normal angle of 90 degrees, okay. This is the normal angle that we have got right now. This angle is lateral proximal femoral angle over here is 90 degrees. The normal angle is 90 degrees and the angle which we have got right now is 120 degrees. And since these two lines have crossed each other at the center of the head, so we will say that the deformity is intra-articular. It is an intra-articular deformity and the magnitude of the deformity is 30 degrees, okay. I can again show you, just I want to show you so that you can understand what is happening over here. I'm going to draw another angle. First, let us draw using mechanical axis, anatomical axis as well. Afterwards, I'm going to correct this deformity so that you can get a better understanding, okay. Now I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw this line and take this line to the side. We will bring that back later on. This is the reference angle, the mid diaphyseal line. It is more or less a mid diaphyseal line, okay. As we all can see now, this line is not crossing through the piriform fossa. The normal location is through the piriform fossa. This line has to cross, has to touch the joint orientation line of the hip at this point, but it has passed laterally. What angle is it making right now? The medial angle now is 52 degrees. The medial proximal femoral angle right now is 52 degrees. The normal angle is 84 degrees. Sorry. As you can see is the anatomical medial proximal femoral angle is 84 degrees. The population mean is 84 degrees. So it is disturbed. What we are going to do right now is we're gonna draw a line of 84 degrees. We're gonna draw a line at 84 degrees, which will start from the piriform fossa, because the mechanical axis normally passes through the femoral head and the anatomical axis line crosses the joint line of rotation at the piriform fossa. The magnitude of deformity here is 32 degrees and this is the location of the deformity. And when we used, this was the reference line, this was the mechanical axis, and the magnitude of the deformity was, when we used these two lines, was 30 degrees, and when we have used the anatomical axis planning, it is 32 degrees. 2 degrees is just because of human error. Just this here and there of the lines, because of here and there of the lines, we have gotten this slight variation in the angles. And what I just want to you, so that you're not confused, as you can see here, you can very well appreciate the cora is here is laterally and here it is medially. So you must be wondering that why this has happened. There is there is a line which is called angulation correction axis, a line along which when you do the osteotomy, normal orientation is restored. Again, I will tell you in detail in our next session the rules of osteotomy. You'll get to know all about that. And when I say this, that the angulation correction axis is going to pass through the same line. So it does not really make any difference, and as long as both the axes are passing through the same line. Our aim is to restore the alignment. Now I'm going to just correct the deformity so that you can get a better understanding. As whenever you get a case of coxa vara or a case of non-united neck of femur which has collapsed into varus, so what you do is you valgify it, and when you are valgifying, you are basically restoring the normal axis. So what do you do over here is, I'm simply going to do an osteotomy. And this mechanical axis line is going to come at this place. When it comes here, the axis will be restored. Okay. So this is the place where I want to rotate. Okay. Now what has happened? As you can see, I just corrected the mechanical axis. I took my reference line, I took the apex of the angulation. My correction was at the center of the hip joint where my cora was, and I corrected the deformity. And as you can see is the mechanical axis has been restored, but just by doing this, the anatomical axis has also been restored. Now this line is passing through the piriform fossa. And now when I calculate the neck shaft angle, it is automatically normalized. I did not measure the neck shaft angle, and what I did my calculation and I did my correction, the neck shaft angle automatically became normal. Okay. Satar, are there any questions so far?
No, sir.
Are you people getting what I am saying right now?
Yes.
Is everything clear by now? If yes, I want you to type yes in the comment section so that I can move forward. Okay. This is very good. So now let us move to another section. So let's open up a scanogram. Okay. Okay. Save. Okay. Now we have got a scanogram. What are we going to do is we're simply going to, first we're going to draw mechanical axis from the center of the head to the center of the ankle joint. Now you can see is there is a valgus deformity in the femur. Next, what are we going to do is we're going to draw joint orientation lines. I'm not going to go into the details in the tibia because of shortage of time. Let's just focus on the femur. Here, what has happened over here? Okay, see, the lateral distal femoral angle here is 90 degrees, 80 degrees, sorry, and the lateral distal femoral angle, sorry, the lateral proximal femoral angle is 80 degrees, and the lateral distal femoral angle is 61 degrees. What does it tell you? That there is a valgus deformity in the distal femur. There is some difference in the angulation in the value in the proximal part as well, which tells us it is not a pure intra-articular deformity of the distal femur. It is somewhere in between, because if it were an intra-articular deformity, only that angle would have been disturbed. So what are we going to do next? We are going to draw our reference lines. Okay, the first technique was we're simply going to draw a line at 90 degrees, and then we're going to draw another line at 88 degrees. This will give us the location of the deformity. Okay. Now, what are we going to do is we will always counter check our mechanical planning by drawing by using the 3-line method as well. Here we have taken a mid diaphyseal line. As we are seeing here is the medial proximal femoral angle is 91 degrees. Is again a bit abnormal. So there is a pathology in the upper part of the femur here as well, which is giving us abnormal angles. So we're going to draw a parallel line. Drawing these lines over the software are easier. You have to do rehearsal on your papers if you don't have the software. We have drawn 2 parallel lines and then a line at as you can see over here is, look what has happened. What has happened? Abdul Sattar, can you tell me what has happened right now? I did mechanical axis planning by 2 ways. What have I gotten right now? Can you tell me, please?
Hello.
Sattar, are you
hear
here?
me? Are you hear me? There is some problem.
What problem it is?
The technical problem.
Look, the deformity, these two are not coinciding with each other. Okay? Is it so? When we used our reference lines, proximal
Yes.
femoral, when we took a reference medial proximal femoral angle the Cora was very higher up and the magnitude was more. It was 36 degrees. And when we measured, used the rule of 3 lines, the deformity was 29 degrees and it was lower down. And why has this happened? Look, when we have drawn our reference angle, mechanical axis with reference to the anatomical axis, our lateral proximal femoral angle comes to be at 82 degrees. It should have been 90 degrees. There is a difference of 8 degrees over here. Okay, as evident here as well. So there is a problem in the upper part of the femur as well, which tells us that this patient does not have a uniapical deformity. There is a secondary deformity in this femur as well. Okay, there is a deformity in the distal part of the femur and a deformity in the proximal part of the femur as well. This is a case of a multi-apical deformity, which we will cover in our subsequent sections, as you can see over here. But I will not spend more time here, because we have a whole section on how to calculate multi-apical deformities. So right now what I am going to tell you is just ignore the upper part of the femur right now, so that we can carry on with our planning. And the upper part of the femur, I will bring this X-ray again in our next session, when we will be discussing multi-apical deformities, and then we will assess the upper part as well. So for now, the purpose of this X-ray was to tell you why we always need to counter check our mechanical axis planning by using the rule of 3 lines. Okay, so in this case I'm simply going to omit the normal axis, and I'm going to use the rule of 3 lines, and assuming that this angle is normal, that this angle instead of making an angle of 82 degrees, let us just assume that it made an angle of 90 degrees. Okay, and then we will proceed forward, just so that we can focus on this deformity, the obvious deformity in the distal part of the femur. So when I draw the mechanical axis of the proximal femur using rule of 3 lines, I got the magnitude of the deformity of 29 degrees. It was in the upper part, in the supracondylar area. And now I will plan the deformity using my anatomical axis. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to draw a reference line at 81 degrees. The line is going to be just medial to the notch, in line with the medial tibial spine, and I've gotten the deformity of 29 degrees, and the location is in the supracondylar area. As you can see, is it coincides with our planning when we did using our mechanical axis. So as you can see, the 88 degree line starting from the center, and this was the line starting from the center of the hip. As you can see, these two lines, this line and this line and this line, this is an 88 degree line, and this is a yes, as you can see, that the two lines which have been highlighted are using the mechanical axis planning, and the Cora is magnitude is 29 degrees, and the location is exactly where the deformity is. And when I use anatomical axis planning. Hello? Star, can you hear me? Hello? Satar, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, Satar, can you hear me?
There's some voice problem. Hello.
Uh,
I could not hear you, sir.
can you hear me right now?
प्लीज स्लाइड शेयर करें. आपकी पिक्स आ रही, आपकी स्लाइड आ रही है.
I okay. Can you see now? Satar, can you see? Can you hear me now? Okay, okay. I think Satar, there is something wrong with your side. Aslan, you can unmute yourself so that I can coordinate with you. There is something wrong with the Aslan's internet connection.
Yes, sir, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, okay. So, can you all see the slide now? Okay.
Yes, we can see your slide as well.
Okay, okay. So, as you can all see now, the planning in the anatomical axis and the mechanical axis have given us a cora at the more or less in the same plane. Since this deformity is very close to the femoral condyle, the deformity, both the locations of the deformity planned by mechanical and the anatomical axis have landed over the same place, because the close to the knee, the both lines cross each other. Okay, as proximal we go, as the more proximal we are, the more medial will be the mechanical axis planning cora, and lateral will be the anatomical axis cora. Okay, so let us discuss one more, and then we can conclude. Here again, first thing is we have drawn the mechanical axis. Okay, now here you can see, let me zoom it up. In the proximal part, the lateral proximal femoral angle is 86 degrees, which is in the lower range of normal, while the normal range is 85 to 95 degrees. And in the distal part, the lateral distal femoral angle is 77 degrees, and we all know is that the normal angle is 88 degrees. So we can say is there is a deformity, the most maximum magnitude of the deformity is in the distal part of the femur, since the distal femoral angle is disturbed more. Now what are we going to do is, we're going to draw a reference line. Distal reference line will be at 88 degrees, centered at the knee, and the proximal reference angle is going to be, we're going to again draw using the rule of three angles, because as you can see over here is, one thing is we can simply draw a reference line at 90 degrees, and this will give us a deformity, a magnitude of the deformity. The magnitude here is 15 degrees. You can see the location, but again we always counter check, because in most of the cases there is something wrong with the femoral head, which does not give us a normal reference angle of the proximal femur. So we always use the rule of 3 lines to get the normal mechanical axis of the proximal femur. Here I've drawn a parallel line. Okay, then a 7-degree line. This has given me the location of the deformity, which is more or less coinciding with, let me just, with the visible deformity. Okay, this is the location of the deformity using the mechanical axis. And how are we going to measure the deformity using anatomical axis? This was the mechanical axis line. Let me just slide these lines away. I'm going to draw another line. The anatomical lateral distal femoral angle, anatomical one, was 81 degrees, 7 degrees less than the mechanical axis angle. So, and it is slightly medial, not centered at the notch. It is medial, in line with the medial eminence of the tibial spine, and it gives us again a deformity of 14 degrees. Again, as you can see, this is the angle we have gotten. I'll zoom it in, and this is our reference angle, slightly medial to the anatomical axis line. And what is the, and as you can see over here, the 1 degree is human error. Using the anatomical axis, we have gotten an angle of 14 degrees, location and the angle of 14 degrees. Are there any questions so far?
No, sir.
I hope you all understood what I tried to convey today. It was a conceptual session. You must need to plan your, you need to plan using the papers that I gave you, the sketches that I gave you. You need to print those, and then you need to rehearse on these extras. Unless you will think that by now everything has been clearer to you, but once you will start doing it, you will see that you'll have problems. You'll have to again look at the video. I will upload this session on YouTube as well, and then you will you must rehearse, and then you will be able to do it better. The next session, which is tomorrow, I have slightly altered the plan. Initially, the plan was to tell you the rules of osteotomies in the end, but I have slightly altered my plan. Now I will be telling you about the rules of osteotomy and how we correct the deformity, the angulation correction axis, and all that in our tomorrow's session, because these 4 sessions will conclude the basic part of deformity correction. The next part, the multi-apical deformity, sagittal plane, and oblique plane deformity. These are advanced level deformity correction. I want you to attend all these sessions as well. They are easier as compared to this femur planning. But since they are in the advanced portion. So first I want to conclude the basic portion, which is the frontal plane deformity planning, and then the correction part will be taught in the session in the rules of osteotomies. Okay, so tomorrow we will reconvene our session at 4 p.m. Tomorrow is the session in which you will learn we will learn how to correct the deformity. Till now we have read the how to plan and how to calculate the deformity. But in our next session, we will learn how to correct the deformity. How to correct what we have planned so far. Okay. The next session will be rules of osteotomy, and the next 3 sessions will be advanced deformity correction. So hopefully I will meet you all tomorrow, inshallah, same place, same time. Okay. Allah Hafiz.